I'm even willing to pay triple digits to pay for an alpha or early access or whatever comes out. I'm
Triple
willing to do that.
digits.
I will pay triple digits. I really like this game.
We are barely over a week out from Playtest 4, and the hype train has officially begun. While I was editing this video, Grayson over at Iron Mace released a little riddle, or scavenger hunt, that ultimately unlocked a community announcement. And while a lot of people were disappointed about it, I was personally pretty geeked.
Now, there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not this confirms that B1, our top level, probably the forest or maybe caves, is confirmed by this image, and I'm not sure either way. But what I do know is that I'm pretty excited for the remainder of this week. I'm really looking forward to see what other types of little nuggets they might drop along the way. Alright, let's get back to the video. Greetings, gamers, and welcome back to our third installment in the Player Profiles series. Today's featured guest is the man of maps and the host of tournaments. Aaron, aka Crosscurrent, has been a content creator for several years, but has really found his niche here in the Dark and Darker community, and he's really passionate about the game. I think it really comes through in this discussion, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So you've been a content creator for how long now?
I think it's been about 5 years. Started YouTube about 5 years ago. Twitch I started about 3 or 4 years ago. It was mainly just something I did casually. I started with like a card game of all things, just playing on a laptop, trying to stream it on an HP laptop while I worked national parks, and the internet was bad. The setup was bad, and
What was the name of the card game?
Eternal Card Game. It still exists.
Eternal Card Game.
Yeah, a lot of very similar to Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
That was the first ever game I tried on YouTube, but the one that actually kind of got my channel boosted was a game called Barony.
Okay.
It has like Minecraft looking graphics, but it's a dungeon crawl solo co-op. Kind of got that Doom feel once you get into it. Speed runs and everything.
I've heard of Barony. I've looked it up a couple times. A few guys at work were telling me about that. When I mentioned Dark and Darker, they hadn't seen it yet, and they were like, "Oh, it kind of sounds like Barony, but the multiplayer mode." It's like, yeah,
it's a fun game. I think my channel really popped off once COVID hit because Barony went from being $15 to being free. So all my guide videos that were on that game, everyone just kind of went straight to there. Then I played For the King and just games similar, and I just kind of hopped around a bit until I found a game I liked. Thought I was going to stop with New World, and I think most people know what happened with that game.
Yeah, it was not a positive, not a positive ending for that game at all. So I went back and tried to watch as many Dark and Darker videos from your channel as I could, and I ran into the one that you made in the middle of last year. That was I forget what the title was, something to the effect of upcoming changes to the channel, and you were talking about one of your goals being to find a new game that you can focus on. Actually, prior to that, you were saying that the channel itself is going to shift its focus to RPGs, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of that video, you said, I'm really looking to find that game that I can focus the channel on.
Yeah. The last part is more of the focus than anything, but I was kind of leaning towards RPG since Barony was an RPG, For the King was an RPG, Muck was an RPG, and you know, it's a broad yet somewhat narrower category.
How much of your time are you spending to plan on Dark and Darker here in 2023?
Oh gosh, well, whenever it's out, I'm playing it.
Right.
Like I'm even willing to pay triple digits to pay for an alpha or early access or whatever comes out.
Triple digits.
I will pay triple digits. I really like this game. I have tried so many other games. Like when I stream on Twitch, I play test games to get like game codes and stuff. I play like 200 of those games. I think I liked one game and it was V Rising. Every other game I hated. So
I never played V, but I heard a lot of good things. I know Josh So Bad was into that game.
Oh yeah.
Justin, who's in the chat here, he was a V Rising enjoyer for a minute or two. Yeah, firmly in the camp. Obviously, for this channel, I'm completely devoted to Dark and Darker, 100%. But as a player, just a generic gamer, I've more or less also made the decision to just uninstall every other game. Like I can't foresee myself playing anything else for the rest of the year at this point, save for maybe Rocket League. My son plays Rocket League, so I can see myself occasionally doing that. But
of course,
yeah, man, I am obviously absolutely infatuated with this game. So getting back to your journey here, when you started into the Dark and Darker content creation arena, one of the first things you did was create names for map or for POIs on the map. So you took various crypt maps and started putting POIs to them. And you were one of the first guys that I saw that had done that. So I thought that was really cool. That was the first time I came across your content, which was probably, gosh, how long ago did you do that first video?
Oh, gosh, that would have been like that was right before the tower playtest. So it would have been like 2 tests ago.
Okay. And then you just did another one. I guess we should definitely mention, get a little plug in right now. You just released an updated version of the map names, right?
Yep. It's a little less detailed on like what to find there and all that. I'm trying to expand that in a separate video, but yeah, I got like 40 to 50 locations names. So if you're making call outs, you actually have something to say other than some of the names that were less than ideal.
Yeah, which ones? You want to go over them?
Okay, so there's one I called really bad. I called it square because on the map looked like a bunch of squares. And then I made, right after the video, I played the test. I'm like, I should have called it pyramid with all the bats. Why'd I call it square?
Well, that one you fixed though, right? In your updated one. That one's been fixed.
I talked to someone. There's a guy named Lion. He was in Jay Griffith's chat, and he was just helping me with like names because one of the biggest problems is there's a lot of similarities in the map. So like you'll have, I don't know, I named a place crypt, tomb, burial, boneyard, or like you get to traps and cages and wraith room, wraith ramp. Like there's a lot of similarities, but you just got to get a second mind to work with you.
You did all 4 of the B2 maps, right?
Yes.
Haven't tackled Inferno yet. Is that one of your goals for the next playtest?
I plan to. I might have to get some clips from friends because I didn't do a lot of Inferno last test since it was mainly tournaments I was doing and a lot of work, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of the upcoming playtest, we know a little bit about some of the updates that we think are coming. What are you most looking forward to?
So I've been looking forward to for a while either the Bard or the new B1 map. I think that the B1 map will be fantastic because it really welcomes in new players, whereas most of us had to suffer on level 2, probably running to one of those poison zombies and dying, not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
The other idea is the fact that there's the Bard class on the way. I think the Bard's nice because then people know that new classes are on the way. I know So Bad Strange made a video a long time ago showing like a huge list of classes that were intended. And once they see that one of those classes out, they know that the others are on their way at some point in time, which, I don't know, I love variety. Something new out there works for me.
I'm all about it too. How do you think they're going to be able to, or do you think they're going to focus on, for B1, on having a kind of claustrophobic feel? Like the dungeon obviously has this very self-contained kind of claustrophobic nature to it. Do you think they're going to shoot for that on B1 in the forest level, or do you think they're going to, I mean, Josh talked about this a little bit as well, like he didn't want to see it be just like wide open, right?
Of course. No. That gives Rangers too much power, in my opinion. Rangers and Wizards.
Right.
Mainly Rangers, though.
Exactly. Have you given any thought to how they might achieve a forest level while still keeping that kind of claustrophobic feel?
It's tough, you got to really expand it as best you can, like try to think outside the box. I think there could be like caves, there could be like maybe different levels, like heights that could kind of, I don't know, like I'm thinking Ewoks in Star Wars. Hopefully it's not like that, but there's a lot of variety, a lot of options. Even if it is a lot of trees, I think that it's going to be different because I planned on, I believe, 30 people starting off on B1.
Yeah,
levels,
that's crazy to me
that's
too.
hectic. That's crazy. Like, it's going to be a whole arena,
Right.
bloodbath.
And then it's a mad dash for the portals too, right? Like you either got to go whittle down the playing field through player kills, or you're just dashing for a portal as quickly as you can get it.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot of thinking, just kind of watching the feed, doing
Yeah.
the math.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they make that happen, especially if they don't bring back the 3-man blue portal, right? I mean, if you're running around...
That was painful. That was tough.
Yeah, I saw mixed feedback on that, and I understand the arguments from both sides. If you guys in the chat want to chime in on your opinion of 1 versus 3 blue portals, please do. But I've seen both sides of the argument. I'm just trying to imagine how it's going to play out in B1. If they do a timer, I should know this off the top of my head. What's the timer in B2? Is it 11 minutes?
Honestly, I never really bothered to check.
The timer's either, I feel like it's either 11 or 13. Again, chat, if you guys know what the timer is, let us know. I think B2 timer is 11, and I feel like Inferno might be even shorter than that. So I'm wondering if on B1, they're going to do a slightly higher start time, so maybe 13, 14 minutes, and then allow people to take portals earlier, right? Start spawning the portals at like 10. So if you start the game with 14 minutes to get out, you start spawning portals at like 10. But getting back to the 1 versus 3 portal thing, if you're in a team that's, especially if it's out in the forest and it's not super claustrophobic, and if it's a bigger map, then you got to split your team up, and you don't know every time if everyone's going to be able to grab a portal, right? Like that's such an interesting meta thing to think about.
Yeah, and that brings up a topic with like B1 that I think is really important, is people are like, how are the leaderboards going to look, the kill leaderboards on B1? Because if they count those, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, forget the other levels, I'm just going here for the bloodbath. Or they'll be camping extraction points, the portals, kind of like how people camp in Tarkov.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're split up, I was like, okay, well, that guy got 1. We know 2 other people are looking. Rogue's just going invisible and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that people would mainly say, hey, cleric, you're saving us. You go first. But if a cleric's stuck alone, they're probably going to die.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
you have to
some
be...
ale and, brewmaster it.
Yeah, if you're not well geared as a cleric, or very skilled, or just built to fight, which is hard to do, obviously. The brewmaster archetype, I think, is one that is certainly viable. Hopefully they give the cleric another offensive buff or 2. I mean, the fact that the cleric's starting stats were 1 less than every other character class, I mean, that by itself was kind of like, are you kidding? Like, we're the least offensive class out there, and we have one less attribute, 1 less stat.
Yeah. At the same time, I think they did that because they knew what team would not have a healer or the option for resurrection or buffs. I think they kind of did. I think they determined that pretty well. That was going to happen that way.
I don't know. So I saw a comment. I thought it was from a developer. I'm going to have to fact check myself on this, but I thought I saw SDF say that was not by design. That was an accident. We will fix that. The cleric was not supposed to have 1 less point than everybody else. But you may be right. I may be speaking out of turn there.
Maybe no one told SDF. Or maybe that's the trick.
That's borderline blasphemy here. So I'm going to be playing in your tournament, and a team name that I submitted to your admin was SDF Fan Club. That is our team name.
That's great. It's fantastic. I love people with the unique team names. Like I know last event someone had Conan as backup dancers as the name. They didn't place the best, but I just love the name. Animal Kingdom, and there's like Majestic Bear, Lion,
nice,
Locust. I forget what the other one was.
So Justin's in the chat. He's agreeing that SDF did say that it was an error, the cleric having 1 less point. So
wow,
that would be great if they. I mean, maybe we can almost count on an automatic buff for the cleric, 1 extra stat point.
Yeah, that brings up a quick topic about like the devs. They are really good at like fixing things. Like when they see it, it's fixed like within an hour or two. If it's a bunch of fixes, it gets fixed really quick. Like I remember one of my friends were taking, I believe it was a pillar room on my map, and going up to the tavern where the skeleton champion is, 2 long tables, lots of skeletons. He got stuck in the hallway and couldn't leave. I told him about it, and the next game we tested again, it was fixed. I brought up like that, one of the tests, I believe it was 2 tests ago, there was some gold glitches where you try to sell stuff and won't sell sometimes. With me, I had extra pouches. Fortunately, this is fixed, otherwise I won't bring it up. It would fill the pouches, but it wouldn't sell the stuff. I told SDF, I told Terrence, and they fixed it so quick.
Yeah, they're crazy good, man.
Yeah.
I can't say enough. I think every time I've done one of these things, I've had to go off on a rant about how great they are. And it really gives me a lot of hope that this game is going to have the legs that I want it to have. I mean, I definitely want this thing to be around. I feel like 5 years should be the minimum that this thing has a good run, but I mean, it could easily be a 10-year type of run, I hope.
Yeah, for sure.
With these kind of developers.
That's one of the nice things about this specific genre. It kind of caters to an older grouping of people, grouping of gamers. I don't see as many young kids playing this because it's very complex. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of games that really interest me anymore. I don't play Fortnite or anything. So
yeah,
having something where I can really use my mind instead of the quick reflexes all the time. Like,
right.
I still need
but
that,
it's a combination of both. I think it does appeal to the younger audience, but I think it definitely appeals to the boomers and the zoomers as well. I think somebody in the Reddit chat, I think it was even like the title of the post was like, "Is this a game for boomers?" And then the chat, of course, the thread below it explodes, and someone was like, "Yeah, it's made by boomers for everyone, including boomers." And it's like, yeah, I mean, that term gets overused, and there's a lot of guys like me that are not even close to being true baby boomers, but we're in our 40s, and we were definitely big D&D nerds back in the 90s, right? And a lot of those guys that are working for Iron Mace, I feel like, are in their 30s and 40s, and they're passionate about the same things that a lot of the gaming boomers are passionate about, right? So, but getting back to your point about the skill part of it, I do think you can really get to the point where the mechanical skill in the game is going to separate you from the other players. But I think people that don't have like super fast twitch, aimbot type reflexes, those people can enjoy the game a ton too, because the strategy, your tactical decisions, I do think matter just a ton, more so than almost any other FPS game that I've played. So I don't know that we covered this in the intro. I meant to. I made a note to ask you how did you run into the game? What was your first exposure?
So it's funny. I was just like checking through Discord, and I saw one of my friends was like streaming or playing Dark and Dark, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" I looked up on Steam, and I was like, "Okay, well that's interesting. Whatever, I'll take a look." I was kind of skeptical at the start. I joined in with him. First couple games, I died either to him or accidentally killed him because it's brutally honest. And then I just loved it. I loved it after that. Once I played with other people, no offense to him, I really liked the game.
So when did you do your first tournament? Did you do a tournament in Playtest 1, or was it 2? Was 2 your first one?
I believe the last playtest was the first time I did tournaments. I did 3 separate ones. I wanted to do it before then, but I saw that So Bad Strange was doing one. I was like, I'm gonna let him do it, and I'm just gonna kind of see what ideas I can like really put into place, because I had like raw ideas without really knowing exactly how the game operated. Which I don't know. I've done tournaments for a lot of other games, and when I didn't know the game fully, it was pretty rough.
So what were some of your biggest lessons learned? So you said you did 3. You did 3 all in the last playtest?
Yep. So I did 2 1v1 tournaments. The format was unusual because there's no custom lobbies, but the developers allowed me to promote for that event only that you could have 2 people in one team, and then they split off. First tournament they could chase, second tournament they split off, and they can fight each other.
Okay.
Last person alive wins. You can't take blue portals unless the other person's dead, so they'd go to the red portal and they'd face off in that final room.
What were
they did promote the fact that I could kill teammates only in that mode. I was like, I'm gonna remove the video just so I'm not promoting team killing.
Right. What were some of the challenges with that, and what are some of the, maybe more importantly, for this upcoming tournament? So back to plugging that tournament. Your 50-team tournament is February 11th at, I think, 6 p.m. Eastern. Is that right? That's Saturday.
Oh yeah. 5 p.m. CDT, CST, whatever it's supposed to be. It's on the Discord.
Right. So yeah. I'm pretty sure that's 6 p.m. Eastern. You've got 50 teams, 3-man teams. Is the tournament full at this point? Is everybody SOL?
It's very close. I believe we have like 47 of the 50 slots filled, but anyone that signs up afterwards, you can still join in. There's almost always at least one team that'll back out.
Okay. So get on the wait list.
First come, first serve.
Get on the wait list is the moral of the story. And where do the people find the application? Do they go to your Discord first, and then the link to the tournament registration page is there?
Yep. If they go to the February tournament main, it'll be in a tournament channel. Okay. You'll see it there. It has the link to the form, and it has a huge block of text, so there's no confusion. I also made a video on it to help out.
Nice.
Any confusion?
Yeah, so your Discord, how much did it blow up just on the last playtest alone?
So before the last playtest, it was just a casual, nice people that hang out and play the game Discord.
Yeah.
So it had like maybe 20 people. I started posting tournaments, and I was blessed by the devs. They posted it in their content area or announcement area just to kind of promote the event, see if people would join in, which that was amazing. That was a godsend. It just blew up my Discord a little bit. Like, in comparison to 20, it blew up the Discord to like a couple hundred. With the final tournament, which was very sporadic, last minute, didn't plan it, it went from like a couple hundred to I think a couple thousand at one point.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was painful. I talk all about that in the next tournament video. Well, I had to talk to the lady. She's good with Discord. She talked to her friends. They're good with Discord. They just completely set the Discord up to be nice and work. Yeah.
Did you guys did you end up having to pump it with Nitro, or were you getting by on just the stock Discord?
I believe we got by without Nitro.
Okay.
I'm not super Discord savvy. I know how to run it, but I don't know how to make it look, really beautiful.
Gotcha. I'm in the same boat, man. I'm trying to become more of a Discord expert, but I was definitely, when I started playing Dark and Darker, at least, I was definitely at the the minimalist user level. I know how to do all the basic functions, but I've never done any of the advanced features. I've got my own server, but I never pay attention to it. It's just a means to get 2 to 5 guys in to play a game at a random time, or have a quick chat. So I'm with you on that. It does take a lot of work, and especially when you're trying to get a YouTube channel off the ground, that seems like one of the least important things, when you have to learn, streaming software, and then all the YouTube rules and how to keep up with all the different things they ask for, and then add streaming to that mix, and then something like video editing software, and then you got to learn audio editing. It's a lot for sure. Discord starts to fall down the list pretty fast.
Oh, definitely.
We talked a little bit about B1. You mentioned the Bard, and I think I skipped right over that. Have you got any insight or found any info on what the Bard class may or may not look like that's not just pure speculation?
I honestly have nothing on it, and I kind of want to keep it that way in my head, because then I have no expectations, and it's just going to be interesting. I do hope, even though it's not important, I do hope that there's proximity chat when the Bard comes out, so people can roleplay the music or put in Nickelback memes, etc.
Yeah. You have any speculation on what the next class will be after that?
I don't know. I'm interested to see what Paladin would be. I think that it's not going to be the next one, because like magic users, that's very unique. I think that they could work with that, but you've got the barbarian, you've got the fighter, you've got the cleric, which also kind of like that. So I don't see paladin really coming out anytime soon. They got so many options. I saw like artificer on the list. Sorry if I butchered that name. Shaman, warlock.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like a lot of those end up being subclasses of the way that old advanced Dungeons and Dragons used to be. Is you had the primary classes, and then you were allowed to multi-class in order to kind of create subclasses. Well, then as D&D evolved, they took these specialist archetypes, or specialist subclasses rather, and then they just made them their own thing. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. I did see Artificer out there, or Artificer. I'm not sure how to pronounce it either.
I don't know.
The Warlock was definitely one. Shaman was one that was on the list. Paladin. So in the old school days, Paladin was kind of a subclass of Cleric. So if you multi-classed a Cleric and a Fighter, then essentially you got a Paladin out of that. There was a what was like a Dark Knight, essentially. That's not the right name though. Maybe it's a Dark Paladin. But yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I think the class discussion is one. Druid, thank you, Justin, in the chat.
Druid, yes.
The Druid,
yes.
that could be really interesting. That's one of the main.
I think that'd be pretty similar to like a cleric style, where it's more like if it's as I had experienced D&D is only through encounters, so I didn't know a whole lot. But I remember Druid being very like a support character, had a lot of things they could do on the side to help out. Not as much damage based, but I'm assuming a lot of crowd control, stunning, rooting, pun not intended.
Yep. Yeah, they had a lot of AoE based crowd control, roots and thorns, entangle thorns or something like that. Yeah, it was a cool class though. Well, getting back to just character classes in general, which ones are your favorite to play? What'd you play first? What do you like playing now?
So I think my first classes I played were Ranger and Rogue. I like Rogue because I like to kind of be spicy and play different and think. You're trying to be sneaky, you're trying to hide. I didn't have friends to play with, so I was hiding a lot. The Ranger I like as teamwork. I think it's great. There's a lot of people who shoot arrows too much, I'd say, to where there's too much potential they could hit a teammate, or now you have to worry about the ammo, but it also makes some pretty good highlight reels.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely have to be cautious with your shots with the friendly fire, and just be mindful of I think that's the point you were trying to make, right? Is you need to really not just spam arrows. You need to think a little bit more about each shot. Think about it more carefully. Not only am I going to hit my teammate, but now I only have 6 shots until I have to reload. And if you have to reload, and a rogue or a fighter is anywhere near you, or a barbarian for that matter, you're dead while you're reloading.
Yeah. So. There was an interesting mechanic to actually survive against that, but I don't know how well it's going to be implemented down the road, or if it was intended at all. When a ranger had like no ammo, they could use that 5-shot shotgun type spread ability to instantly have 5 arrows, and they could either cancel it to have 5 arrows on their stock, or use it on the enemy in front of them. They could also do that with a triple shot. I would run both just because it throws people off. You can use the triple shot, like, oh, I can rush them now. But with the 5-shot, boop.
Nice. I never used that once. I played a ranger quite a bit, but I used the triple shot, which I don't even think that's an option to not have that ability as a ranger. Like, you have to have triple. But everybody had their own preference for the other perk, and I never did try the multi-shot. I'd seen a couple people use it ineffectively, but then after the playtest was over, I saw a couple people use it very effectively, and it's like, oh, maybe I should run that.
Yeah.
But I was so busy dying that I needed to have the food. What's the
rations.
The rations. Thank you. What do you think? You mentioned VoIP earlier. What do you think about how much do you think that's going to impact the game? Do you think, the primary concern is that everybody's going to run around trolling, screaming, and chase people out, be toxic, and chase new players out of the game, or existing players that don't want to have any of that. But I feel like this game is kind of unique in that it may, like you mentioned earlier, be used for more role-playing type opportunities, or at least meme role-playing, right?
For sure.
what do you think is what else is gonna come along with that?
So I hope with that kind of meme gameplay and the VoIP and all that, I hope that they have it to where you can turn it on or off. So people who don't want to deal with that or they experience it in a toxic way, they can turn it off. Or like, let's say you're streaming on Twitch and you have a big following. There's always people in games that are going to look to drop slurs to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'd hope that people wouldn't do that, especially with the game just on the rise, but you never know.
Yeah.
I think that it's an interesting idea to have proximity chat, just because I definitely know a lot of things I could do to make some funny content.
Yeah.
Not exactly good content, but maybe funny content. If I could, actually, this is a funny thing I could do that would be good. Maybe make a soundboard of like dropping a trap down. So like if you're a rogue hiding by a doorway, make the sound of a trap to see if they walk up to go for the trap, stab in the back. But at the same time, if it has like a little icon above your head, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good with VoIP in the Inferno levels, because a lot of people consider like, oh, let's team up and kill the Lich boss. Let's kill the Ghost King, stuff like that. Now, I mean, I'd still be cautious as heck with that, because you got a bunch of players who are probably rogue-minded. So once we kill them, once you're looting, they're probably going to kill you.
Yeah, right.
But you'll kill the boss.
Right.
Instead of like having to play caveman and bang the floor, throw some stuff on the ground, drop a heal on them even though they don't need it, like you can actually say, hey, you want to team up?
Yeah. It'll definitely be a game changer. I am optimistic. I think it'll be much more beneficial than it will be harmful to the game. And like you said, it will introduce some very interesting meme opportunities and or funny. The soundboard idea is genius, man. That could be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that for Warzone, and they do much more obnoxious things, like a crazy laugh on a soundboard that never stops.
Oh yeah,
like, yeah, that's a little messed up.
Yeah.
Or like in tournaments, I'm gonna probably turn off prox chat. That's not gonna happen in tournaments.
Right. Yeah, whatever you're doing, whatever goofball thing you're trying to do, as long as you're not spamming it just to be a troll, like I'm cool with it, man. I think everybody should be able to get in there and mess around a little bit, but when it comes to the like there is a line, and it's not really a fine line either. It's pretty easy to see this line. Like, you know, when you're being a complete jerk and just trolling over and over again, that kind of stuff, I don't know how you police it, but
just when you see it, you call it out, you let SDF, Terrence, all of them know.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you can do.
Record your gameplay, right? Record, stream, record.
That's something that's like surprised me, but it's also really good to see. I know they brought up between the last playtest and the one we're waiting for now that they banned a huge wave of cheaters. That's a really good sign. Early game, early on in alpha, that's huge. I'm not going to get into some of the debacles regarding drama and within who's hacking and who isn't, but the fact that the for sure ones are gone, that's huge.
That is huge. Yeah,
like Spud Hunter that works on. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Spud Hunter just did a video on cheating that I thought was really, really well done. I don't know if you had a chance to catch that.
He's amazing.
He's one of the best out there, man. He's certainly in the top 3. He might be number 1 as far as I'm concerned. No offense to anybody else, but the amount of time and effort that he puts into each video that he releases is really, really something. Looking forward to seeing what meme he's gonna put out there the day before the playtest. He's been doing the countdown, right? The more recent countdown where he's in the cleric robe and pounding on the lobby saying, "Let me in." That one was pretty doggone good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm running out of topics here, man. Anything you want to talk about in particular? It's your show. It's your player profile. We talk about whatever.
I can talk about the map if you want.
Yeah, man. Do you want me to bring it up? Give me a quick sec. All right, we're gonna switch over to the other scene here and take a look. Which map did you want to pull up? Do you want to pull up the interactive one, or you want to look at? I can pull up the images.
If you can pull up my see which map, which order I sent it to you on. I believe it's the last one that you got in Discord.
All right.
All right.
So walk me through it, man. I like a lot of these names, but tell me the ones that you don't like as well as you're going through it.
So looking at this map, there was some that had changed, some that were, I don't know, like the far right trap turns. I was calling it trappy turns, like kind of implementing it's crappy, but it's also a bunch of traps. Is a bad pun, so I just made it trap turns. I don't know. It's tough with some of these maps to figure out what's an actual location to put down on a map and what is just kind of there.
What's just
With this map, I thought it was very good because there's a lot of big areas and everything else is just a hallway. Yeah, so like crypt is tough. I call it crypt. Then the other maps you see like tombs or in this one I had boneyards. I called it boneyards because it's skeletons, crypt because it's skeletons.
Yeah.
Hopefully people won't have to worry about both those names on the same game since they're on opposite sides. Let's see.
Else?
Pyramid on the bottom right. That's a better name. Mage spikes was a little bit unusual because really all it is two S-shaped spikes, a mage per room, hallway, secret hallway in between.
What about pottery? That was one of the ones I wanted to ask about. Is that because on that ledge up there, there's a bunch of really big urns
There's like a bunch
and
of
vases?
vases.
That's where you came up with pottery. I kind of
Yeah.
dig that. At first, I was like, wait, where did he get that name from? And then in your walkthrough, there's just a real brief shot. And I got to give you some respect, man. It probably took a long time to go through and find the right clip for each one of those areas. And for that one, it seemed like you just had a little flash of you walking up the stairs, coming around that corner. And I caught the picture of the urn or the vase out of the corner of my eye. And I was like, ah, yes, that's where he got it from. How long did that take you to pull all those clips together?
So for this video, I believe it took in total around 8 hours.
Jeez.
Because I had to look through a bunch of different files. I had to make sure I wasn't pulling up tournament files for like the highlight videos or anything. I had to make sure it was my content. I had to make sure hopefully there was a fight of me doing halfway decent instead of getting smoked by a ram skeleton. Because there's a lot of them I had like way at the start. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even look at things properly. I think the one I didn't really change that I could have changed, I guess, would have been the maze, but it's the maze.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of traps. It's a bunch of hallways. I don't know. I changed the one next to it that was called cages. I changed it to quad. I wanted to keep it as cages, but it's like cage is a term that's going to be used again. I almost guarantee it's going to be on my mind to use it again.
Yeah.
Like there's 8 to 10 different spots out of cages.
All right, let's switch over to map 3. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much different these are. This one was High Roller, I believe. Crypt 3, where we had this ring in the middle with the tower. That was used for High Roller. Let's go back to one of our other ones here. So a lot of the same POIs in this one, but just a different layout, right? This is the one that I'm probably most familiar with, where you had the library into where the mummies were and then the pyramid over there. That run, man, I used to get so excited if I spawned in what you're calling boneyards or of course library or up near pottery. I would just get really geeked that I could make that run and hit those 3 POIs, because you could do some damage. You'll find players, you can get a ton of loot. Just that run, it's great. Did you have a favorite?
I mean, right where you're talking about the library, it's a perfect spot if you're trying to get money. You have the library, you have mums, which is just a mummy room with a bunch of jewelry on the ground. You have pottery, which you destroy the vases, typically find jewelry. Just a quick run through the pyramid, which the bats typically drop. Sometimes they drop throwing weapons. If they drop lanterns, you sell those for like 20 some gold a piece. If you get the pendants or the rings or any of that jewelry, yeah, it's good to have because those are really hard to find, and typically you just find them on bats, maybe like the mosquitoes, dragonflies, whatever you want to call them. So like that's a really good looting run.
Right.
A library typically does have people nearby though, so it can get spicy. And there's a lot of things about the library people don't know. You can climb those ladders that go up.
Yeah.
It's painful, but you can climb them. You can sit on top. You can watch people go around. If you don't have potions on, they won't see you at all.
Right. Well, not only that, there's a staircase that goes up too, which I didn't know for the longest time. And then I couldn't remember how I got up there, but it's just right next to one of the other doors in the room. And yeah, you just make a right, go up the staircase, and then you can run that balcony around the perimeter of the room there. It's yeah, I mean, you could spend half your run just in library easily, especially if you're new, and you're not going for kills, and you're just wanting to loot and or hang out and try to ambush people in there.
Yeah, and a little piggyback on the library. That door wasn't always open. I do have clips where it's actually closed and you
Really?
can't open it up. I talked to someone last night. I was like, please tell me I'm not insane. He's like, I did notice that the last day and not any other day. I'm like, I think they did it just to be like, hey, you can go up here now. Because that cage door, I've never seen an ability to open it, not even to pick it. So I was I remember doing like a in-depth like library run, just kind of looking through it. I had no way up around every corner. I had to jump and hit a crouch to land on top of a vase, do it on a bookshelf, up top. That's the only way I got up. Because I didn't even know about the ladders at that point.
Last layout here. This one's got the pool. Did we have the pool in any of the other ones? I feel like the pool should have been on one of the other ones. I probably just missed it.
Yeah, I don't think so, actually.
Maybe
I think
not.
So the interesting thing with the maps that they can do, which is really smart, if they need to switch something up on pool, I believe they can kind of just like puzzle piece maps together. So like
for sure.
they could pull out that little D&D map, which is pool, and put in like, I don't know, corner bridge.
Yep.
With the wraith down below. And it's like, okay, well, there we go.
Yep.
Play and have fun. We're going to fix this right now.
Gosh, this is really making me Jones for the game, just talking through all this stuff now, being able to picture it. And yeah. Yeah. 9 days, 9 more days, 9 times. What do you got coming up that you want to plug, Aaron? Any particular videos or streams?
So the main stuff I'm working on for the future, I'm definitely doing 1 or 2 tournaments to test. That's the plan. I got people asking about the 1v1, so I'm going to try to implement that as well. Also trying to make more map videos, since people remembered me for that more than anything else. There doesn't seem to be anyone else making map videos. It seems to be really helpful.
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
Nice.
All about finding that niche. Aside from that, just kind of, if I find anything in particular that's like a hidden trait, like in the past with the mimic, you used to be able to crouch to where the mimic would jump over you and miss you the whole time. That seems to be fixed now. But yeah, if anyone has suggestions, hit me up on the video. Just comment below. I'll look into it.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. This has been a blast. Looking forward to your tournament. Just a selfish plug of my own. I do have a tips video that's coming out hopefully within the next 2 to 4 days. Worst case scenario. This is going to be hype week, so you'll see a lot of content creators that have just been stockpiling all of their stuff. They're ready to start ramping up as interest builds for this next playtest. So I'm going to try to get that that tips video out. We've got Ken Nabi, not Kenobi. I still feel like is a miss. Ken Nabi is coming up next on Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern. So make sure you guys join us for that as well. Aaron, thanks again. Guys, make sure to go check out Cross Currents channel. If you want to enter the tournament, there's only a couple slots left. So act fast, jump into his Discord.
Pool.
What's that?
$250 prize pool, for whoever doesn't know.
Yes, sir. Real life money. Aaron, thanks again. Have a good one. We'll see you guys.
Yep, thanks for having me.